Okay, we're rolling. Nick, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me what Dunzo is?
Dunzo. We're an executive assistant agency. We work with small business owners to free up their time by placing them with an amazing partner, right? An amazing executive assistant that is fit to them specifically. We're kind of boutique agency. We're just not just going to place someone just because we have them, just because we have access to them. We place people specifically based on skill set and based on personality and based on everything that the business owner actually needs to free up their time and their capacity to focus on the things that actually drive the needle in the business. Because there's so many things as business owners that we do that do not drive the needle, and they have to get done. Typically, it's a bunch of admin work, and that work is amazing for the right person. Typically not the small business owner, because they typically don't like it. They didn't get into business to do that kind of stuff. So we come in and we kind of alleviate that for small business owners.
So, full disclosure to everyone, I'm 3 days in with my newly hired
3 days.
Newly hired assistant. So I'm not gonna. I can only give the feedback from 3 days, but I'll tell you, even from the beginning, from the delegation matrix, going through your process, that step alone, and then I've been talking about this hiring, call it dilemma, we'll call it what you want, for the last couple months, and people have asked me, so have you hired anyone? Have you interviewed anyone? How's this process look? And I said, well, I've been interviewed a couple of times, and that concept right there, it says so much about the time that was taken to get to know me. And I'm the type of person, and this is a tendency I'm working through, is trying to do everything myself, because I had the mindset, well, why don't I just hire someone? I could probably pay him less. And then I fortunately had the foresight to say, this is case in point of why I'm hiring an assistant, because I'm trying to do everything myself. And why don't I let people that do this professionally know what they're doing? And so far, been a great experience. What could you tell someone who's thinking about this as a business owner, or maybe not even a business owner, depending on the circumstance?
Yeah. Typically we work with business owners. And man, basically what it comes down to is, I believe every business owner can benefit from having an assistant. I don't believe every business owner is positioned well enough to have an assistant. Some people are so kind of, hey, got to do it myself, right? You grew up in a very like, hey, let's get our hands dirty, let's do the thing, and we're going to get it done, right? You powered through it, you learned it, you do the thing. And that is extremely valuable. And most business owners get there, or get to where they're at, because they do that. And if you were actually going to look at leverage, the highest leverage thing you can do is delegate within a business, because a business is people, right? Like, that's what an actual true business is. That's like when you sell a business, sell an asset, that's what we're looking at. Is like, we're looking at, is this an asset I can buy that has people that are in positions that do things well? If they don't do them well, they don't actually enjoy the thing they're going to do, they're not going to stay there very long, right? And so within all of this, excuse me, we pair people because, sorry, man, my throat hurts so bad. Oh my gosh. I lost my voice
recently.
Yeah. I lost my voice for like 3 weeks, 3 weeks.
All right. We just got to hang in for another hour.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Where were we?
People.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, where we were is the business is people, as you were saying, essentially. It's the people in the business.
Business is made up of people. And so if they're made up of people, your right-hand person typically is going to be one of the more important hires that you ever make, right? And business owners, we think typically, we're on the visionary end of things. We typically think a little bit differently than an operations-minded person. And what we end up doing is we find very operational minded EAs, assistants, that pair very well with visionary EAs or visionary business owners, so that they can both do what they actually do really, really well, rather than it's like, I'm going to go hire this person that thinks like me, and like, no. We're looking for the complementary opposite, right? So that's our game in Dunzo, is pairing the right people to get the right work done.
Yeah. So when I met Jamie, who is now, newly hired, it was, almost like took me for surprise. Sh- she essentially thinks the opposite of me. And she said, I don't think about the bigger visions and the long-term stuff.
Yep.
I love the processes. I love organizing stuff. And I said to her, we are going to really complement each other really well.
Yeah.
And this took me, I don't know if this took me the longest to learn in business. It's a never ending learning process, but the, the concept of hiring and that is the more and more I study, the more and more I see, people on different scales, their biggest skill is hiring. Hi, folks. Quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show.
One of the funny things is like people that are good at hiring sometimes don't hire EAs well. I've seen it happen multiple times to where it's like they've gone through 5 different assistants because it is a different position. It is a different breed of person that likes that kind of stuff and does it long term. Kind of funny story is I started as an executive assistant. I wanted to get into business. And so I thought the fastest way to do that was rub shoulders with somebody that's in business. And one of my dad's friends actually, he drove a Beamer. And I was like, oh yeah, he drives a Beamer. He must know what he's doing. He's an entrepreneur. And I go and ask him like, hey, can I work with you? And he's like, yeah, you can be my assistant. I'll drag you around everywhere and we'll do everything. I got into rooms I should not have been in a way. But then I learned that my soft skills ended up being really beneficial to him because he kind of opened his mouth a little bit too much. And then I would kind of brush over things and I would smooth over the situations. And so I learned some really amazing soft skills to complement those things. But the assistant side of stuff, of get all the little nitty gritty tasks done and make sure that all the plates keep spinning, and that's not me. So it burned me out over a longer period of time. It's a great learning experience, but I learned really, really deeply, I never want to do that kind of work again in that way. And so, what was it? 10 years later, I end up making an agency solving that problem that I originally was in, but had to find the flip, had to find the exact opposite of who I am. And that's my wife. So she was the model citizen for who we were going to hire.
This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because I think my fiance could do this really well. She's also a business owner and very creative. So I say that pretty lightly because she also might not be, but she definitely has a mind that in some ways complements mine. It's kind of a very type A, type B combo.
Yeah.
And I just have more type B tendencies.
It works really, really well. And we go off of traction and EOS, right? And so the visionary and integrator. And what we look at our EAs as is integrator lights, right? They can be to some degree kind of a bigger integrator, but most of the time they're like the light version of, I need to have my hands in everywhere, see everything so that I can go up to the business owner or the CEO or the C-suite person and be able to say, hey, this is going on. What do you think? We should probably address this, right? And sometimes us up here, we have our head in the clouds and we're dreaming about 2 years out when they're in the day-to-day, right? And I don't enjoy being in the day-to-day as much. And so my wife, day-to-day, I am visionary. That's why we partnered up in starting Dunzo. It works really, really well. And then we just basically I find clients that are like me. She finds EAs that are like her. And then we pair the two together.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice, if somebody's thinking about hiring this or they seem very stuck in their business? Are you guys ever trying to convince someone they should hire an EA, or is it more of you'll come to us when you're ready to hire an EA?
A little bit more, they'll come when they're ready because of what I built, because the Bozeman Mastermind built that revealed the need for Dunzo. That's why Dunzo was built, is because I kind of saw the need over and over. So most of our clients come to us and kind of ready and knowing what they want. I don't typically convince people. What I do is share my experience of like, oh yeah, my assistant does that. Or, and they're like, wait, what? Yeah, wait, what do you mean? You don't have an assistant? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, like, oh, I couldn't offload that. I couldn't do that. Like, why not? And then we end up kind of having a conversation, plants the seed, and they either right at that point, they're like, how do I learn more? What do I do? And I typically end up giving a book, which I gave you. And that book does the selling for them. And if they're not ready, and that's basically what I say is like, hey, read this book. If by the end of this, you are not convinced that you need an EA and should have an EA, then like, you're good. Like, keep doing what you're doing and keep getting the results you're getting because it seems like it's awesome, right? Or they're like, no, it's not awesome. Let's change something, right? And then they look at the book and they like, I want that. I want this level of kind of support so I can go and be the madman that I am and have somebody that has my back, right? And so I would rather them convince themselves.
Yeah, and huge compliment to you and your wife for the system and handing out the book. One of the things that really stuck out with me with the book was it's not just business stuff, and it's seeing the importance that they put on, remembering stuff with your family, with your spouse, with your kids. And that speaks to me because those are the type of values that are important to me. But realizing that's part of a bigger picture of truly being a successful business owner is not only you're prioritizing what needs to get done in the business, but you're prioritizing your family. And that's, for a lot of people, that's your fuel for living. And to look at it that with the wholesome mindset of everything, I can do everything better. I can, be there for my family better. Really, like, that struck a chord with me to realize that this is much more about just, hey, I'm going to be the most effective business owner and I'm going to make millions and here we go.
Yeah. This, what people typically don't understand about executive assistants is they are not there to just make the business as successful as possible. Cool. Help their client, do as best they can in business, is to help their client. And you have a personal life as well, right? And so they actually get invested to go and book the soccer, to sign up for the soccer league for the kids or book the dentist appointment. One of my EAs had to book and rebook my dentist appointment 5, 6 different times because I screwed it up with scheduling and this. And I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, but can you redo this? And like, it's not the easiest thing because it was like 4 different appointments that had to all line up. And it literally makes my head hurt to do that stuff. And she's like, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was out of my head on her plate and it was done. And she just basically like, hey, I already put it in your calendar. Here's all these, done. I was like, cool. That I'd put off for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I wouldn't get it done. And then I'd be thinking about it. And and so it's all waste. To me, it's all waste. And if everything else that is waste is not actually focused on what I should be focused on my business or focused on my family when I'm with my family, right? And so there's so many of those little things that stack up that just steal kind of our mental energy and even our physical energy.
Yeah, what the book did for me, I think, almost in a nutshell, is it redefined what it means to be a professional. And that's beyond the term business professional, really a professional in life, because if you can build systems, not that, you want your life to be an endless system, but if you can build the right systems so you can prioritize the things that, give you the fuel and the reason to live like that. And it made me look at the stereotypical professional in a different way and say, oh, like that guy really does have his shit together.
Yeah.
Because he's got his priorities in line and he has someone assisting him in keeping his priorities in line. And, and we can keep that North Star in sight.
Yeah.
That's I think it's going to be endless dividends to you and everyone else.
It's massive. And to me, my wife really, drilled this into me is like the trade-offs, right? If I'm doing something, I'm not doing something else. And when I'm doing something that is not in my genius zone that I should be doing, especially in the business, I'm taking away from somebody else that it is in their genius zone. They would like it. They are probably better at it than I am. And I can be doing something else that is way better for the business. And when I was just kind of doing business solo, it didn't matter because I only affected myself, right? Typically, I affected my family as well with how much income I bring in. But when you start hiring people, it gets a little scary because like now it's like these people depend on me too. And so every moment I'm not spending on like doing what I do best, I'm kind of letting them down too. That was huge pressure for me. That I was like, cool, I like this. This is good. This makes me a better man and a better human.
I just had that realization this week because of this hire. And I remember I had it when I had my first official hire driver for the company. It makes me level up.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that because, you know, there's a standard we can keep for ourselves and it's enough bullshit that we can understand it. And then, you know, I came to that realization, this isn't going to work because, you know, somebody else needs to hop in a vehicle and we need a system to go pick up these clients.
Yeah.
And now to have the systems on the admin side is kind of the mental clarity I can feel already.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of my mentors taught me about forcing functions, right? And one of the classic examples of it is hiring a personal trainer to go to the gym. Like, hey, I want to go to the gym. I want to get fit. I want to, whatever it is. So you hire a personal trainer. There's a forcing function to get your ass to the gym and work out because like I'm paying for it. This person expects me to be there. Cool. An EA is one of the more beautiful forcing functions ever because what is it surrounded by? It's surrounded by SOPs, right? It's surrounded by your actual procedures in your business. And if you can't clearly train that, you don't know what you're doing. You're kind of guessing. You're kind of pulling it out of wherever you want. And that's okay because an EA can help you clarify that and actually build it and actually do it with you. Or you just have something you hand off and you figure out, man, like inefficiencies everywhere. Right. And so it forces you into being more efficient, being more clear, and people won't last as clients if they're not willing to kind of adjust to those things because it just reveals themselves as you continue to like evolve your relationship. Because otherwise it stays at this kind of like level 1, level 2 surface of stuff. And just like, we're not about that. Like we're about like 3, 4, 5. Let's get down there because that's where the real gold is in your business. That's where you're going to get back most of your capacity so you can go and do what you need to do.
Yeah, that honestly, it's exciting to hear that analogy and think of that as that's what I can, you know, think of that of the assistant similar to the training.
Yeah.
What's the term you use for that?
Forcing function.
Forcing function.
Yeah. And similar to training too is like, okay, go to the gym, go lift. You didn't get big and buff. You didn't get nice and fit. Like, what happened? Did I do it wrong? Like, no, it takes time. Right. And that's one of the harder things with, and you asked me about, you know, do I convince people of getting an EA? What happens when you convince somebody to go to the gym?
Yeah, I love that you're using these analogies to the relating to the bro and me.
Yeah. Like, are they sticking with the gym or are they like, no, typically not. Sometimes they can be shamed into it for a long enough period of time with friends, whatever. But like with an assistant, it's like, no, I'm committed to this. I want this. And this is going to be some time, right? We talk about the rule of twos often within Dunzo. And if you haven't heard it, you're probably going to hear it soon. But the rule of twos is basically 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, and 2 years, right? When you start something new, that's kind of like bigger, you know? So thinking of, going to college, like at a big campus or something, 2 days, it takes just to like, where's the bathroom and where's that other class at? And like trying to figure that stuff out. 2 weeks in, you figured out like where everything's at. But like, man, like, I don't know like the cadence of like how, like when I should study and like how ahead I should be on this class or behind. Right. And so then you get 2 months, you're getting it figured out. You're like, okay, I got the rhythm. I got the thing. 2 years into college, you're like, I got it. I'm a pro. And some of you see somebody new walking in, they like looking around all lost. You're like, hey, come here. Let me show you where it's at. Right. Because you've been there, done that. You've seen the cycles. And that's how it is with most big things that we do. And an EA is no different. Right. It's like kind of the whole fine wine thing. The longer it goes, the better it gets because the deeper the relationship and the deeper the understanding. So you can see those nuances over time. That's difficult to hire as we talk about, hiring. And if you can do it yourself, you're great. Awesome. Do it. But there's a reason that we exist. It's because this is a difficult position to hire within that. And they're a lot different than you typically. So.
Yeah, and my thought process when I told you I had that, it was a kind of it's an ingrained thought pattern and instinct. Let me do that, and then whatever the wisdom, the rationale in me said, that's exactly what you need. One more thing to do.
Yeah,
this will really solve.
You're already tapped out, so yeah. Let's do one more thing.
Yeah. I really like that analogy with the school because it makes me think. I'm sure you see this too. It's really easy to see someone who is in the stage that you were a few years ago in business.
Yeah.
And I think this more and more now is, there's a lot of people looking at me knowing I'm in the stage they were in a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I just have to you see the patterns of the systems and the processes building. And you were saying earlier the genius zone, which reminded me of the delegation matrix.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about how you built that? And it's a very impressive, doc that you guys put together.
Yeah. So the book that we were referencing is Your World Class Assistant by Michael Hyatt. He's an amazing, amazing author, an amazing teacher. And through that book, I just my brain went crazy. I was like, this is the frameworks. This is how this works. How do we duplicate this over and over and over again? How do we get these results? And through that, I meshed that with Dan Sullivan. So Dan Sullivan is a coach, strategic coach, and I've learned a lot from him over the years. And he has, he would always talk about genius zone. One of his things was 10x is easier than 2x. Well, how do you 10x something? You stay in your genius zone as much as humanly possible, because your genius zone is actually what fuels you, right? We were talking about this earlier before the podcast. You like this. You enjoy this. It's fueling you. And so you doing the action helps you to actually perpetuate doing more of the action. And so the whole point of the delegation matrix is to understand, how do I identify what is in my genius zone and then what is in my other zones. If I can identify what's in those zones, I can then put a sequence to it to here's the list of things you should probably delegate first, because you suck at it and you don't enjoy it. Get rid of those things. You're actually damaging your business by doing those things. If they don't need to be done in your business, just eliminate them altogether. But if they need to be done, they don't need to be done by you. Somebody else probably should do those because they actually are good at them and they actually enjoy it. This is the whole complementary opposite thing, right? And then you kind of move your way up into, you just have your genius zone tasks left, right? That's the ideal world. Does that happen? Kind of. I am mostly there, but I always get pulled into doing other things too. And so it's I want to mainly be in my genius zone, mainly in the things that light me up, so that I just keep doing them. And I want everybody on my team to be in their genius zone as well. That's the magic of retention, because when everybody actually enjoys their job, they thank you over and over and over. Instead of getting a bunch of complaints, you get thanks. You're I'm so blessed to work here. Thank you so much. You're crushing it. Keep going. It's amazing.
Yeah. And if you think of what you're building as far as a functioning organism, if you think of a business like that, if you've got if you think of the human body and you've got every single thing, the right nutrition, the right exercise, the right sunlight, the right sleep, that's the expert in each zone. So you've got sleep perfected, nutrition perfected, exercise perfected, and you're if you look at your building, use the human analogy or human body analogies, you've got everything functioning. And it's just going to perpetuate more and more.
Yeah, I feel like a deadlift is a really good example of that. It's because if you're not all linked together, you're not lifting much, and it looks pretty terrible when you do it, and you're probably going to snap your back up. But when you link everything, you don't have to get any stronger to lift a whole bunch more weight in the beginning. You just have to have better form and be able to generate more force to the floor. And it's the same resources, just allocated in a different way and functioning differently. That's what a business is, right? It's when all of them work together, it's we're all rowing in the same direction, right? One of my coaches, he would talk about a magnifying glass, right? We have the sun in the sky, all the lights coming down, and it's all over the place. We take a magnifying glass, we focus that light. It's just even a piece of that light focused into one area. You can burn something up, right? You focus enough light, we have a laser, and we can cut through things now. And in business, the more we can do that, the more surgical we can be about the actual actions we take. And typically we only need to take 1, 2, maybe 3 big moves in a year to substantially impact our business. And that's what we do. And that's what we help people to do. And I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's exciting to hear you talk about and just to think about. So if we back up, how did you end up doing this? What got you to this?
Yeah.
And is there people you think of specifically? Is it life experience? Is it mentors? Is it all of the above?
All the above, but mostly pain.
Mm.
So I kind of worked my way up from graphic design to doing kind of websites. And then I ended up doing marketing and then to some degree consulting. So I kind of like went through that arc over, 7-10 years or something. And within that, it was kind of difficult because I was doing everything myself, as we were talking about. I wanted too much control over everything. And so I was scared to hire. I was fearful of a lot of things, and we still needed to make money and pay the bills and do all the fun stuff, right? And so pressure from the wife, we need to make more money. Let's do the thing. I had to keep getting better and better and better and eventually like I wasn't smart enough to work my way out of this. And eventually she goes, let me help you. Like my thing was like, my hair would I had to have my hands in my head. My hair would be like standing up. My beard would be a mess, like all that. And she'd like see me walk out of the office and she's like, man, you look like trash. Like we need to do something. Right. So eventually she's like, let me take these things off your plate. Like, let me take off these things because like you hate these things. And I was like, no, I love you too much to let you take those things. Those things suck. Like you don't want to do those tasks. And she's like, no, I like those things. I was like, no, you're just saying, basically you're just saying that to make me like feel better. Right. And we don't lie to each other. And so like, I'm kind of playing with her, but also kind of serious. And she goes, no, let me have these tasks. Go and make more money. Go and talk to people because you enjoy talking to people. Go get clients and go do the work and do good work. I was like, okay. She started taking that stuff off my plate and it transformed everything, like everything. And we were very much like kind of opposites in those ways, those complementary opposites. And getting to experience that was the best gift I could ever get, because then as I'm consulting businesses, I kept telling them like, hey, Tim, you need to get a Chelsea. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you doing these things? You need to I wish I could hire Chelsea out to you. That would be amazing. And so this kept happening over and over because I'd consult and I'd tell you like, hey, Tim, here's the one lever that you should probably pull in your business over the next 6 months. And, it's going to substantially impact things. You wouldn't start working on pulling that lever because guess what? You didn't have the capacity to do it. And so if you don't have the capacity to do it, you're not going to do it. If you don't do it, you're not going to get the results. How do we fix this vicious cycle? And so I kept saying the whole Chelsea, like, you need a Chelsea, you need a Chelsea. Eventually I'm like, you know what? I was like, this is the big boy business. This is like, because consulting, whatever, like to me, it was like, I didn't want to grow a consulting firm. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to build a big boy business and I identified, I was like, this is it. And as I had all these different people in the mastermind and all these different clients I was consulting, like I was like, this is the problem that keeps coming up over and over and over again. And I can attach an amazing financial model to this to where I win, they win, and the EA wins. I know we can build that because we've done that in all these different areas and blah, blah, blah. So we did it. And so I told my clients, I was like, hey, here you go. I'm going to find a Chelsea for you. I'm going to place them with you. We're going to help train on the back end. You're going to pay me a premium and then we're going to free you up. And then you're going to actually work on your business in the way we need to. Like, okay, sounds good.
Very cool.
And that's how it started.
The mastermind that you started here in town in Bozeman, this was prior to any ideas for the EA, or was this? Okay.
The mastermind was my intentional way to get a data pool. I wanted like real life data. That's one piece of it. And then I wanted friends. All my friends were online. I had, I was part of like online masterminds and that kind of stuff. And it's like, this is amazing. Like, and we would always talk about, man, I wish we all lived in the same place. We could all hang out. And I looked at that and I was like, I don't know any business owners here. Like I knew 1.5 business owners. Like I kind of knew this one guy and my chiropractor. Like, we talk about business a little bit when I'd go. It's like, I love talking about business and I love doing this. So like, I need to start a mastermind here because I want to get to know people and I want data for what my big boy business was. Like I didn't know what it was that I want to do, but I knew that I can collect data and then I could see patterns. And then I was like, yep, that's the thing. So I knew I could like explore long enough to be able to figure that out. So I started creating the mastermind and we talked about Jeff. I met Jeff. it all goes from there. I mean, I could tell much more of that story, but it was amazing how like intention drove all the change for an entire community of people and impacts you still. And I'm not even part of that mastermind anymore in that way, like at least leading that mastermind.
Yeah. It's so cool. And I, now that I know about it, I am like, how did I not know about this?
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And
we didn't do any advertising.
Yeah.
We didn't, nothing. Everything was word of mouth.
Because I'm trying to think of how many different people I heard about it from, but it was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And similar in the vein, as I started doing this podcast and talking to more and more business owners, I started hearing about it more.
Yeah.
And then I've had people on that I didn't even know. I mean, I still have yet to see them at the mastermind group, but I now know later, oh, they're part of that group. They're part of that group. And I'm just, drawing all the connections now. And it's, I couldn't recommend it more to other business owners.
Yeah. Incredible people. And that's what happens when you get incredible people together with an intention. Right. And so one of my big filters, actually Colin Ingstrom from Yard Guard. I don't know if you know him or not, but amazing, amazing guy. And so me, Colin, and Jeff kind of like started the mastermind originally. And with Colin, I was like, cool, what's the filter? What's our filter? What's it going to be? And it was people that give a shit. Right. So it's people that give a shit. And we walk away from a conversation or an interaction with that person, be like, that's a good dude. I like that dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I would want to call Colin and be like, dude, Tim's a good guy. He's cool. And what if we just filled a room with a bunch of people like that? And that was the premise. And so that's what we did. And we just all worked like kind of as a team to like keep introducing people to each other. And we just kept building it until there was so much momentum that it built itself.
Yeah, it's such a cool concept. And it's like, and it when you meet people that you're like-minded and they have the business. I find it so interesting. Every time I've spoke up in any of the masterminds that I've been in, most of the advice I give is the advice I need to hear for myself more than anything.
Yeah.
But just sit in that room and hear that people are in the exact same situations, and you start to see patterns.
Okay.
I'm guessing just like you did with the assistants.
Yeah.
And then you just realize, oh, this is.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and most of us are as business owners. Like, that's kind of like how I felt in the beginning. I was like, I know things in business, but like, I don't know people that like know my struggles in that way personally that I can, just go grab a coffee with or go to lunch with or whatever it is. Like, that wasn't real for me. And I wanted that to be real. And I wanted that to be real for other people in the community. And we literally set out for Bozeman Mastermind to change like the culture here. Change the business culture, influence and impact. Somewhat of a big mission to actually have, but to some degree, I was ballsy enough to actually say it out loud and do it, and it did. And like the whole point of helping is that I don't need the credit. None of us need the credit in the mastermind. That's what was so cool about it, is we all just wanted to help so bad, whoever it was, that they would come in cold, grab a hot seat. Like maybe first week, some people come in first week not knowing anything, and we would blast them, just blast them. And they're like, wait, you guys care this much about me? You just met me. I'm like, yeah, you're human. Your brother, your sister, like, let's go. Let's do this. Because if you're going to be in my community and you're going to impact my community in Bozeman, like, I want to influence you in our ways. And like, let's do this, because this is a higher level, to me, is a higher level of operating versus the whole, let's go make millions. You can do both. But if it's just purely focused on kind of the money aspect of it, so much gets lost. And right, that's why people bash on capitalism so much and whatnot. It's like a little misguided, but
yeah,
there's a better way to do it.
I think it is a big misconception that it's all about the money.
Yeah.
And I told you earlier, and this will come out, prior to the one that I recorded early this morning. But when I was able to attach this podcast and my connection to this community to my business, it 180'd everything.
Yeah.
Because that was the toughest thing I was dealing with, was what the hell is this for?
Yeah.
Am I just driving people around means to an end? And when the business started, and the reason I proceeded into the industry is I had such great connections with my clients.
Yeah.
Because I was their driver.
Yeah.
We were talking all the time.
Yeah.
And now I'm the admin guy. I'm the dispatch guy. my employees are the drivers.
Yep.
They're having all kinds of fun conversations, and I'm like, I'm draining.
Yeah.
And then to be able to bring it full circle to still have the transportation and get to have the connection with business owners,
Yeah.
with my employees, and ideally, like, I'm gonna get back to driving a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, there's some clients I want to see, and I love being out on the road and hearing what the clients want.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest advantage, was
Yeah.
being out there and hearing what's going on. And if it wasn't for that, I never would have had the initial idea to start the podcast, because people were always asking, hey, who do I call? I want to go fishing. Who do I call? Where should I stay?
Yeah.
What should we do? And I'm like, who would have the best answers to that? The people that own those businesses.
Yeah.
But that was all part of,
That's so cool. I heard a stat, I don't even know how long, and I don't even know if it's accurate, but within the Mormon church, the dollar is passed around about 13 times within that community. Within the Christian church, it's passed around about 1, maybe 1 to 2, something like that. And that blew me away. It wasn't surprising to me, because all the Mormons I knew, like growing up around me, I was like, they're all fairly wealthy. A lot of them own businesses. And then I looked at kind of like the Christians that I knew, and I was like, a decent amount of them own businesses too, but it's not the same feel. Like, there isn't this whole like rising tide kind of deal for the whole community. And I was like, man, 13 times in $1 going around. And so I was obsessed with communities and how they operated, and cultures, and what they like, how they actually form. And I figured within this community, I could circulate the dollar more, and everybody wins. How do we do that within the master? It happened all the freaking time. And so for you, that's what you end up doing, is like, you're just trying to circulate the dollar better and more efficiently through this community. And the more you do that, the more you support those companies and their employees and their families. And like, that circulates the dollar 2, 3, 4, 5x what it would have if it would have just been kind of, been a non-answer to something, or they would have, gone somewhere else or done something different. And I view that as like one of the highest values for a community, because we've kind of mentioned this a couple times before. It was like, if it all goes away, what are we left with?
Yeah.
Communication, connection. That's what we have. We have friends, we have family. That's what we got. And so, like, why not protect that? To me, why not protect that asset the most versus, the almighty dollar? That's just a transfer of value. And so how do we transfer value and usefulness? Like, you are useful to people in your company because you say, why don't you go to this company? They're going to hook you up. You're going to have a great experience. That's useful. And then they're going to come back to you again the next time and be like, that was amazing. What else? There's no convincing.
I could not agree more. And I feel so compelled when I sit down with some of these business owners. If I don't directly just go use their business myself, I send people there all the time. And then I can refer them to people, and they'll refer people to me. And like, what a great ecosystem.
Yeah. Imagine that. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I just sold my house, and Matt Ryan. So you know Matt, I think, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you came in the mastermind after Matt.
Okay. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. So Matt Ryan, amazing human being. He found the mastermind, and I was like, dude, like, you were born to be in this mastermind, like, amazing. He ended up, basically, we kind of partnered together in like kind of the back half of my tenure there. And he interviewed every single person that came in. That was one of the beautiful things about the mastermind. It's like, there was a vetting process up front. It's not just like anybody can come in. It's like, no, we wanted really cool people. So Matt would do that. And because he would do that, like, we had an amazing group. Thank you, Matt. That was amazing. I didn't get to use his services. I mean, he's a real estate agent. Like, I didn't buy and sell houses, and I was freaking broke a long time ago. I couldn't do that stuff. And so I wanted to use his service. I referred him over and over and over again. So the value of being able to refer, I actually just sold my house. I'm in the middle. I'm closing papers in like a week or so. And I got to finally use Matt. And our thing that we would always talk about is, don't discount services for friends. I never want to, like, I don't ever want to take from you something. I want to pay you more than you typically would make, because you're my friend. I want to take care of you, take care of your family. And that's the culture that we would create. And it took, I don't know, 3+ years for me to actually use his services within that way. And it's an amazing experience. So now I can say I've been through the thing, but we can do it on both ends. Like you just said, is like, I didn't have to use their services. I know they're good human beings, and how we do one thing is how we do most. Pretty solid. I've heard some really good things. We've had great conversations. You should probably go check it out. Right.
A friend of mine, she owns a yoga studio in town, Bailey. And she said that too. A friend will not ask for a discount.
Yeah.
You want me to take out of my bottom line, which could be a pretty short line depending on the business. And I really like the concept of looking at it like that. A friend like, hey, I might give you a little extra because I really want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Not, hey, can you take a little off your plate?
Yeah.
So
yeah, one of my I think you had him on the podcast, Austin.
Yep.
So Austin was opening up the coffee hut, and like you could probably give out free coffees, no problem. But like with the mastermind, we're like, hey, let's all go and let's tip. Like, let's do this thing. Like, let's do it right. Let's show his employees like, hey, this community's here for you. And we did. It was awesome. Like I pulled up, somebody from the mastermind was ahead of me. I pulled up and then somebody was behind me from the mastermind. I was like, this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And like, we're all tipping them, and more than normal tip.
I told him that because I don't know what he was doing in the hut, but a few weeks ago he was, and I was on my way to the mastermind.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is my ritual sometimes on Thursdays. If I leave the gym, I'll come straight here and have a cup of coffee, go sit down at the mastermind.
I love it.
But I love it. I wanted to go there more after sitting down with him. I'm like, what a good dude. I love what he's doing.
Yeah.
And like,
human connection.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we all desire so much. It's like the whole, I want to be seen and heard kind of deal, right? That can be overplayed to some degree, but it's what we want, right? Like, we want somebody to know us and to understand us and like be thinking of us to some degree. It's like, hey, Tim, I was thinking of you when I saw this thing. Like, that means something to people. And those levels of connections, when we do that at a business level in a, fairly small community, magical.
Yeah, this is the perfect size, city community to where it's not too small.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in a town of 1,500 people. It was too small. It was too personal.
Yeah.
You were very encroached upon. This is great though, because you'll see people every day you've never seen before, but you'll see enough people
Yeah. Agreed.
The new sign is on order right now. It says Mountain Mule connecting Montana. And that's the whole premise of this. So this is speaking of me, I could talk about it all day.
Yeah. No, I love it. And awesome. Nexus. It's the central meeting point of everything. Like, how did all of these people magically find each other? Right? It was very, very intentional. Yeah. And we created a community of people. And that's what I love about what you're doing, is because that's all you're doing, is you're just finding really awesome, amazing people and being able to share that out with other business owners that are going to happen to listen to this. And that's, to me, that's the shortcut. That is the shortcut, is knowing the right people to go to. Just, had a coffee with a friend this morning, and that's what we were talking about. It's like one of his most valuable thing he can offer to his clients, because he does a lot of consulting, is connections. Is literally, it's like, hey, go to this person for this. Go to this person. And as a business, how long it takes to find an actual good service for something, right? Like, it could take multiple tries to find the right accountant. That's not something you do every week, right? But if you can go to somebody and be like, hey, this is who you want to talk to, and you just shortcut that whole journey, they don't have to go searching around somewhere else and get something that's top 20th percentile. Like, how much more valuable can you get in a business?
I got a really good case in point for that. So I just moved to this new shop in Belgrade. There's a tire shop that's walking distance from here. I don't know the name of it, but I live on the east side of Bozeman downtown, and I use the Tire-Rama downtown. There's a guy named Lane. He's the manager there. Awesome dude.
Yeah.
Just, he always takes care of me if it's something last minute, if it's something right away. And a couple of years ago, I said, hey, Lane, I'd love to set up an account with you guys. I'll bring all my vehicles here. I said, cool. We can give you a little bit of a quantity discount.
Yeah.
And right now I'm thinking I could drop vehicles off and walk back and have tires swapped. And, I went to him to do all those swaps because I'm like, my sister went in there. I scheduled her for her car, my fiance, both of them. That guy's great. I'm like, yeah. Him individually, and I'm sure the extension of his team are pulling business there from, outside of their radius just because of who he is. And yeah, it takes a long time to find people like that.
Yeah.
And tires are very important in my industry.
Yeah.
They're very important for everyone's safety.
Yeah. A lot of this that I got taught was it comes down to risk, right? It's like, it is less risky for you to keep doing what you're doing and it be working versus you changing something for some level of convenience. Can it work? And is there ways to test that? Yeah, absolutely. Sure, you can. But you've gotten the right service over and over and over again. You know it's reliable. Everything comes down to reliability. I'm going to go with that as a business owner, right? And this is kind of the whole difference between business owners and non-business owners typically is, as business owners, we look at most things as risk. Like, we're like, okay, what is the risk of this? What is the risk of change? Most people don't look at trade-offs if they don't own a business. They don't understand that like level of, like, if you're spending your time here, you're not able to go over here, right? And so within a tire shop, that's like, oh yeah, just change, dude. Like, why wouldn't you just, like, it's right around the corner? Yeah, there's more to it. There's much, much more to it. And typically it all boils down to risk. It's less risky.
Yeah. And I'd love to, like, spend a little bit extra time to have that interaction with them on top of it.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I was at Lowe's. I had to get something for a sink, and it's this one piece that I can't figure. Normally I can figure things out. I don't need much help. Kind of pride myself on that, as we talked about. And I needed help, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll go find somebody. And I was like, yeah, I need help with this. Oh, you want to talk to this guy? I can't remember his name right now, but this guy in a wheelchair, and older gentleman, and he was a plumber for like 30 years or something like that. And I was like, dude, this guy, amazing, helped me out, knew exactly what to do, told me how to do it, all that. And I go and I tell my neighbor about this, and he goes, oh, the guy in the wheel. I didn't even say that he was in a wheelchair, but that's his defining feature, basically. And he goes, oh, the guy in the wheelchair at Lowe's, he's amazing. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's so cool.
And that is brand. And so brand is like, what do people say behind your back? Right? And so you as Mountain Mule, like, what do they know about you? What do they say behind your back? They've never even used your services, and they think you're amazing because of the guests that you have on here and how you treat them and what the questions that you ask and all that. Like, that's amazing to me. And that's the fascinating piece of business to me. I don't care about the other side of stuff of just like the hardcore, like, make as much money as possible. There's plenty of money to be made. How do you build actual relationships and make the place you live better?
Yeah.
I never even used your services, and I know they're good because of how every interaction I've ever had with you.
Yeah, I can only hope that is the way people think of me, because this is the easiest thing I get to do.
Yeah.
Not even that I have to do.
Yeah.
It costs money and it costs time, and it's a fortune to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So
that's when it started unlocking for me in business, was when I was in situations that I would walk away from that situation, be like, I cannot believe I just got paid for that. Or I cannot believe that this gets to be part of my job. When I kept feeling that over and over, and those moments kept getting closer, I was like, this is where it's at. This is what needs to happen. So we go back to delegation matrix. It helps people define what those things are so they can do more of those things. And so I became obsessed with it, obsessed with being able to do that for myself, but then help other people, other business owners, be able to do that.
I think it was 2 or 3 Fridays ago was the last day recorded in the old studio. I sat down with a woman who owns Amanda, who started and founded Skyoro. Woman Kelly Ramirez, she's got a coaching consulting company, and a manager at Gallatin River Lodge, and the food and beverage manager.
Yeah.
I came home at the end of that Friday, and I'm fired up. And I've been in there all day. That's a long day. Yeah. It's a lot of conversation. And I said to my fiance, I'm like, I'm ready to go. And it's 6:00 on a Friday.
Yeah.
And like the stereotypical, it's been a long week, I need a beer. I'm like, let's go. Like I'm like, that was like, this is what gives me fuel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the whole like teenager energy of like wanting to punch a wall. Instead of punching a wall out of anger, it's like, dude, I'm so like, I gotta do something. Like, I got to go lift. I got to do like,
Yeah, yeah.
let's go work on the business. Let's do it. Like, because it gets you so amped because that's your genius zone. That's like where you thrive. And it's like, man, what if you hone that skill even more? How do you hone skills? You do them more frequently.
Yeah.
The more frequently you can do them, typically the better you can get. And so how do you do that? Well, you free up your capacity. Well, how do you free up your capacity? So that's what I like had to reverse engineer to like figure out A for myself, but then B, how do I figure that out for other people?
So badass.
It's fun.
If somebody's, say, on the fence or just, they're stuck in that spot where they think they need to do everything as a business, you don't want to convince them, but what advice do you want to give them? Because I think that was one of the toughest cycles for me to snap out of.
Yeah. I had a buddy who was working in his business and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go help my guys out in the field and do this with them. Really, he wanted to save a couple bucks. And I was like, cool. So you're going to go steal from your guys. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, because you're going to go work with them, you're taking hours from them that they want. You go sell. You go get new accounts. You go do this. Go let them work and do what they actually want to do. And so if you can think through that in your business of like, where are you stealing from A, your employees, if you have employees, or B, from yourself where you shouldn't be stealing, like, what would your life look like if you did not have these tasks on your plate? What would you do? And that's typically why people don't do this, is because they don't actually think about the other end of it, of what would I do? And that's a kind of a scary spot of like, what do I do next? What do I focus on? What? And so if I were to encourage people, is more so is like, what lights you up? Let's figure out these pieces, because then you have actual pull towards something rather than running away from something. Because you're running away from something into the dark versus walking towards something and you're like cutting off weights along the way. It's so much more powerful to, be pulled to your future rather than it's like, man, you're like dragging you into your, like, no, no, thank you. That impacts way too much of my life, my family, myself, my health, no. I can't wait for next week and the week after and Monday and the weekend, like, because I actually get to do the things I enjoy. So I want people to do that too. So if they would think about those types of things, it would help. It would help. And I would say, read your world-class assistant, reach out if you need a book. Let me know. Let Tim know. He'll hook you up too.
Yeah, I recommend the book. One big mindset shift I had more recently is every skill that I just don't have, my tendencies don't have strength there.
Yeah.
I looked at that as the biggest weakness. So my thought was, I gotta drudge through these. I gotta get better at this. These business professionals and elites, they know how to do all this stuff. And I have changed that frame more recently than ever, that the biggest strength is the delegation.
Yeah.
And that it's not being a jack of all trades and a master of all trades it's just not realistic.
Jack of all trades do really, really well in business if they learn how to delegate. And I was jack of all trades in that way. And I was pretty good at a lot of things so I could keep it afloat. But I was doing a lot of things that I hated doing. So even though I was like good at it, I still hated doing them. So it drained my energy. So I didn't look forward to doing any of those things. So I would procrastinate them or I wouldn't do them, whatever it would be. And so if we're in our zone, it's like play, right? And my mentor of mine used to say, get in your sandbox. Where's your sandbox? Where's it at? Let's go. Like, here's a box of crayons. Let's play. Let's have fun. Let's do the thing. Like, okay. Like, that makes sense. I didn't believe that was true because that wasn't my like experience when I like first met him. But he's like, this can be easy. This can be fun. Okay. I believe you because you're a crazy person and I want to be more like you. So like, let's go. Like, I want to learn from you.
Yeah, I love it. What else should anyone know about you? You've got kids, you're married.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a big, motivation, driving factor for a lot of your life?
Yeah, huge. A piece that we didn't talk about me is Lyme disease. And so during this entire time of building businesses in Bozeman in that way, I have felt terrible, like really, really bad. And it's up until like the recent, like 6 months, basically, I've started feeling substantially better. Um, and so within that, it impacted my family tremendously. And it was another forcing function, actually. It forced me to be really, really good at getting only the right things done in my business so my business could keep growing. And thank God I have a lot of different assistants within my business, because I might need a lot of help when I'm so sick. And so that impacted so many pieces of my family life that I had to get rid of, because I barely had energy. I didn't have energy. I had to say no to my kids all the time of like, hey, can we go play or can we do this? So I had to get enough energy to do something with them. It wrecked me, but I had to get so ruthless about cutting off things and delegating things, and because I care about them. And it made me sad, but that was my reality. That's what I do. And so my family is my highest priority around things. My wife is absolutely phenomenal, amazing. And we run Dunzo together. That's an amazing experience. My kids get to grow up in an entrepreneurial family. They know things and have had access to people that, man, it's amazing. Amazing people and times and all of it. My family is everything.
So cool. Were you able to cure the Lyme disease?
Cure's a tricky word
Mhm.
within Lyme. But yeah, I feel substantially better. I can't tell you, I mean, it's fairly recent to how feeling at this level of good. It's been fairly recent. But the doctor that I'm working with, shout out to Dr. Mackey. If any of you need an amazing osteopath, she's incredible. Have a team of medical people, but she's kind of like the main person. Helped tremendously. And she's on the other end of her Lyme journey in that way. And it's been for a while. And so it's like, I have hope. Like there is hope that at least massive like remission kind of deal. But yeah, there is a better me in the future is how I feel. And I keep going back to get rich or die trying kind of deal. I'm never going to give up, even if I keep feeling bad the rest of my life. That's fine. I'd rather just keep actually trying than just throw in the towel and it is what it is. Like I'll go to the gym and lift 10 pounds because that's all I can lift. I've had seasons of that. And yeah.
Yeah, I had it when I was a kid, and I'm from the Northeast. It's the ticks are bad in the Northeast. It gets pretty common, but it really knocks some people out. It's
Yeah.
it's like pretty nasty
Yeah.
depending on the severity of it. And from what I understand, it'll be dormant, but it can reoccur. And I think
Yeah.
maybe stress and different
Yeah.
seasonality and different nutrition can flare it up. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, I remember I just remember my knee like really blew up, and but it was just ticks everywhere always, and it's just
No, thank you.
yeah.
I'll pass. Yeah. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And I've seen it take out some really, really high performing people.
Yeah.
High performing people. And yeah, wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Okay, so Dunzo, where do people go if they want it, and where do they get access to you or to your team to if they want to inquire about this?
Sure. Get Dunzo. So GETDUNZO.com. Go there and you can book a discovery call. And it's the easiest way to understand if it is a fit. We are not salesy. We're not pushy. You've been through the process. We want to leave people better than we found them. So if you want to learn something about yourself and about your business, even if you don't use our services, book a discovery call. It'll be amazing. It'll be kind of eye-opening. For people that aren't ready for, our services yet in that way, or you kind of want to get a better feel, I've actually just launched Boring Business Challenge. And the Boring Business Challenge is phenomenal for doing a lot of things that we kind of talked about today, of kind of reliability and usefulness, all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's a cool place to check out as well. If you are not ready yet for an EA and you kind of want to get there, that is the boringbusinesschallenge.com as well. So those are kind of the two different places that people can kind of enter our world and learn more.
Is there any secret to the name Dunzo other than the obvious?
Yeah, it's just it's a word me and my wife have said for years,
Yeah.
and we thought it'd be funny to name a business Dunzo. And we had our first EA come on to interview, and she said Dunzo in a serious way, and I almost lost it. I was like, there's no way that you're just like taking this serious right now. And now it's a noun, it's an adverb, it's a like we use it, you know, in many different ways, and it's a very real thing. And yeah, it was funny.
I think I told you I keep wanting to call you Nick Dunzo in my head, but
Yeah.
it's very, yeah, it makes sense. I've loved what I've experienced so far, and I can't, yeah, I can't recommend it to people if you think it's something you're ready for. The book is an awesome spot to start, and just to, excited to give a few copies to a few people that I think could get tremendous value from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you. Appreciate
Cool.
it.
I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming by, and I'm excited to stay in your world. And yeah.
Yeah. That was
Cool.
fun. Thank you, man.
Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode, along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.